Another fascinating presentation by Simon, and really fulfilled the brief that I gave him, which was basically, please give us a call to arms. So thank you very much, Simon. Um, I was interested. There was lots of recurring themes that came up, but I was very pleased that he mentioned from the UN Convention the importance of employing people with disability. So as in the previous discussion. The parks are engaging people with disability to co-produce and co-design. So there are great examples such as the one Simon mentioned called Hotel Etico. And I've met Alex Tasselli, who set that up in Italy first, and then has recently opened a new facility in the Blue Mountains. Another great example of that is the Lemon Tree Hotel Group in India. Anyone can go and look up the Lemon Tree Hotel Group, and they have a great policy of employing people with Down syndrome and also people who are deaf. And as part of that initiative, they require all their staff to undergo sign language training. So two great models for employing people with disability in the tourism segment. So I was also lucky enough to enjoy exactly the same hot air balloon ride in Girona as Simon. And I also did, along with many other incredible accessible experiences in Catalonia, including motor paragliding, sailing, a trek around a volcanic national park in a one-wheeled wheelchair like Simon used in Rome, and like the ones that were shown in the previous video, the trail roader in Canada. And those trail roaders, we have many of those in Victoria as well. And I even did an iFly experience in Catalonia, like the one shown in Jezza Williams' video yesterday. So this was on a so-called familiarization trip when I was Lonely Planet's accessible travel manager. And I was invited over by Costa Brava Tourism. And in fact, you can read all about my trip in Julie Jones' magazine, Travel Without Limits. I think the RMIT project team has put together some slides that will be shown as I speak at the end of this session, which shows some of these experiences. So Catalonia has gone out of its way to make itself an accessible destination. Because of this FAM trip, I'm able to personally attest that Catalonia is a model for accessibility throughout the entire tourism value chain. Initiatives are supported by infrastructural investment, which is the responsibility of both local and regional government. We pride ourselves on our beach culture in Australia, but frankly, Costa Brava puts us to shame. I could have gone swimming with physical infrastructure and lifeguard assistance in numerous beaches, even on the tiny stretch of Costa Brava coastline. Destination management organizations in the region, from town level to city level to state level, all make accessibility and information about accessibility a priority. And because of this, it has become known as the wheelchair Mecca of Europe and has garnered a very loyal customer base because they know their needs will be met. And more than that, they'll have a great time, as I did. So, to finish up, in our three webinars, we've heard from a diverse group of people, but all of them share a common objective: to make travel more inclusive and to facilitate access to tourism experiences for as broad a range of people as possible. We've come a long way, especially in the last few years, but there's no doubt we've still got a long way to go. I won't recount everything that was spoken about over the last 3 workshops. The presentations, together with a library of resources and a set of guidelines, will be available on a dedicated website in due course. But I would like to highlight a few recurring themes to wrap up the series. First and foremost, the importance of detailed, accurate, up-to-date information about accessibility is paramount. Arguably, provision of information is as important as provision of accessible facilities and infrastructure, because it allows people to judge for themselves whether or not somewhere is accessible for them. Rather than hiding access information, if it's there at all, under FAQs, make it prominent on your website with its own dedicated menu. Ideally, include photos, or even better, videos of your facilities. If a picture paints 1,000 words, then a video paints 10,000. And you literally hold the tool to do this in the palm of your hand. And as we've heard, there's no such thing as fully accessible because of the huge diversity of needs, even among people with the same conditions, such as myself and Jezza and Simon. Rather than aiming for perfection, businesses should aim for themselves to become more accessible to as wide a range of potential customers as possible. Assess business offerings from a position of knowledge and make incremental adjustments. There are literally dozens of small accommodations that can be made for different disability cohorts that cost nothing or next to nothing. The guidelines that accompany this series will explore these in greater detail. Above all, it's important to understand that access is not all about wheelchairs, ramps, and toilets. Wheelchair users are actually less than 10% of the disabled population. Simon Darcy's whole of life approach emphasizes that access is for everyone, not just for the world's largest minority. It's also, as I and many of the speakers you've heard from can attest to, the only minority group that you can join in an instant. Making tourism more inclusive requires a top-down and a bottom-up approach, as we heard from Ivor. Support from all tiers of government, the national level, the state level, and the local level, and associated destination management organizations, is necessary to assist with practical measures, such as improving hard and soft infrastructure, as well as with strategic marketing and promotion initiatives. I've mentioned that Catalonia is an example of best practice in terms of support for local initiatives and international promotion and marketing of the destination as accessible. But Europe has other examples of best practice in this regard, notably Visit England, as we heard from Ross Calladine in the first session. Visit Flanders, which I referred to, is another world leader and has a first-rate website detailing accessible attractions, accommodations, facilities, and even itineraries. The German National Tourism Board has probably spent more than any other national tourism organization in the world on developing and promoting its accessible tourism offerings, with full details easily found on its website. I would urge all economies to avail themselves of the offer from either Ambrose and ENAT to learn from these best practice NTOs, and perhaps even to join their learning group. As we have heard repeatedly, there can be no gaps in the tourism value chain when it comes to people with access needs, because one broken link can spell disaster, whether it's the lack of accessible transport, accessible accommodation, accessible eateries, or accessible tourist attractions. So it's important that even the smallest businesses try to make themselves more accessible to more people. A portable ramp or a concrete skirt ramp at an entrance is a very small cost in the budget of even the smallest operation. Yet it makes all the difference as to whether I or any other power wheelchair user and their companions can patronize a business. That's lost revenue. It has never made business sense to exclude such a sizable potential market. In a post-COVID era, when tourism businesses are struggling to get back on their feet, it's even more important to maximize your customer base by making your goods and services available to as many people as possible. Finally, empathy, disability awareness, and a flexible attitude on behalf of both tourism service providers and visitors goes a long way, even when accommodations might be lacking. This is particularly true in developing economies, but it's also true in developed economies. This was Chris Veach's key message in his opening keynote. Catering to disabled tourists is really no more nor less than good customer service and good business sense. And that is my parting message to you as well. Thanks for tuning in if you're listening on the day, and thanks for watching if you're accessing these recordings when they become available. I would like to thank APEC for mounting this important workshop series on access and inclusion in tourism at this critical juncture for the industry, and Bonnie Rivendell as the program's lead. I would like to thank Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and Australian Aid for their patronage, and Ruth Sear for her support and encouragement. I would also like to thank the project team at the RMIT's APEC Study Centre for their administrative and technical support, and Stephen Joyce for his technical expertise, advice, and incredible video editing skills. Above all, though, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all the speakers and presenters who gave so generously of their time, experience, and knowledge. Thank you very much, and goodbye.